And when I say that I killed someone in a parking lot, you know, I'm not supposed to be saying that. I get that quite. People ask me that a lot, and when people ask me that, I just I need it to be clear. I'm not doing this for any monetary reasons, and I'm gonna continue taking the sponsorships because it's easy money. I don't care if it's a Chinese fucking web. Who cares? I just really enjoy doing this, and I don't want to bend to someone else and their preferences and what will get clicks and stuff like that. And I said I'll do it on another one on the Mario Kart World because everyone's clicking on the Switch shit right now. So the Mario Kart World, that would take off. I don't want to bend for that just to get, the clicks and the monetization from it. To me, personally, it's just important that I stick to what I want to do. Listen, they gave me $40,000 to promote that shitty AI website, and if they come back and reach out to me again, I do it tomorrow. What I find interesting, and just make content that appeals to me first. And if it appeals to me, I know it will appeal to others. And I don't want this to be a career. The monetization is just such a small part of it, right? No, people think that it's all fun and games. I'm just trying to have a good time, something to do as a hobby, but it's the monetization I'm here for, right? To me, having this as a hobby is just a spice of life, and I love it. I love interacting with the community and just everything about it, and I would never take advantage of them. Oh, one of the viewers went to the Chinese AI website and got scammed. What do I care? I got the money. I don't need this shit. I'm not dealing with it. On May 10th, 2023, a channel created 6 years prior uploaded their first video. It was called Lost in Obscurity, Wii U Panorama View. It was a 6-minute video about a forgotten demo app for the Nintendo Wii U, featuring a monotone and deadpan commentary by someone going by the username of Bearman3600. The voiceover was low quality, with footage being captured in just 720p. Though it was clear he didn't really know what he was doing, the commentary was still funny, and his anger towards little details that most people would never even notice was something big YouTubers and reviewers would just never bother to talk about. The average viewer would assume there isn't much to say about a tech demo from 2012, but somehow, this bear man managed to complain for about 6 minutes. His age and face were unknown, using an unattributed sprite of what appeared to be a human with the head of a robot as his profile picture. The video stood at 0 views for almost a week before getting its first view, and it didn't help that Bearman, as most people trying to get a start on the platform, didn't realize the importance of an interesting or eye-catching thumbnail. Despite his shortcomings, he persisted and uploaded again 7 days after his first video went up. This time, another 6-minute review called Lost in Obscurity, King K. Roller. It followed the style and format of his first video, but this time looking at a forgotten piece of shovelware released onto the Microsoft Store for the Xbox One. The game was comically bad, and a point of focus from Bearman's commentary was the absurdity of this game's continued presence on the Microsoft Store, despite its use of copyrighted material. This video managed to net a few views in a couple days, but shortly after this video went up, Bearman gave his audience of 3 or 4 people a glimpse into his resting personality. He uploaded a video called I'm Feeling Unlucky. It was a 24-minute unscripted video focused on ridiculing absurd products on various e-commerce sites. Although it didn't perform very well, it was the first unscripted commentary video structured by on-the-spot wit rather than scripted jokes to be featured on the channel. And although things seem mostly dormant with the channel, all that was about to change with the release of one single video. Minecraft is the most drawing game when it comes to video game content. Not only is it the best-selling game of all time, but it has also consistently been one of the highest-rated games, drawing tens of millions of views every day since its release. Any YouTube video focused on Minecraft is guaranteed to draw in at least 100 views. And after a 10-day hiatus on his channel, Bearman unknowingly released a video that would soon become one of the most defining uploads of his online career. Lost in Obscurity, Weird Versions of Minecraft. A return to the Lost in Obscurity series of videos he began just 18 days prior. This video focused on niche versions of Minecraft that are mostly unknown or undocumented. Although it was initially uploaded to the interest of only 3 or 4 viewers, a couple of days after upload, the video began picking up, and within 5 days became Bearman's first video to crack 1,000 views. But all of this success came with its drawbacks. This may have been Bearman's first hit video, but it also introduced him to something that would eventually be the death of him: hate. Many people found his use of swearing to be oversaturated and juvenile sounding, and although these comments were discouraging, they taught Bearman some of the most important aspects of video making. He knew that the controls were originally swapped, but simply forgot when he was writing a script, and this became a driving force on his budding obsession with uncertainty. And comments complaining about the immature style of writing made him understand that not everything has to be appealing to everyone, because the positive comments and feedback outnumbered the negativity he was receiving. Despite his confidence, he still struggled with his next upload: Lost in Obscurity, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild for Wii U. This video about the overlooked Wii U port of 2017's Game of the Year featured even more unnecessary swearing and misinformation than his previous upload. Bearman claimed that the Wii U gamepad rendered gameplay at 720p, though in reality, the gamepad's resolution is only 480p. Along with this, many commenters noted that the loading times when closing the home menu were a result of the Wii U's memory being less of that than its successor. In an attempt at damage control, Bearman pinned a comment correcting his lack of research. Although he found it embarrassing, it was more important to him to express transparency with his audience rather than to come off as ignorant and full of himself. This video saw success similarly to the Minecraft video, but it would be a while before Bearman saw similar success. Moving forward from this video, the channel continued to upload inconsistently, but still somewhat frequently, covering a wide variety of games and topics focused on finding the humor in them whether or not Bearman actually enjoyed the game or not. As these uploads continued, a dark era of Bearman's life was creeping its way into his online presence, and soon, his viewers would see the results of it. I definitely know that sometimes it seemed that I'm doing something or I'm talking about something, making a video on something simply because it's a hot topic at the time. And if you buy the Switch 2, you're just a fucking idiot. Just hands down, you are a moron. And it's easy clicks, but that's just never the case. Any video I upload because it's something I care to talk about. It's something I want to share my opinion about. Do it again, and I'm just banning you. That's it. You can forget it. I know you'll be crying. I don't care. No one else is having any influence on, what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, or anything like that. Fuck him and fuck the fans. The fans are all fucking assholes. We knew that. But ultimately, I want it to be known that, anything you're seeing or hearing on this channel is straight from my heart, and it's completely authentic and genuine. On June 22nd, 2023, after uploading his first video focused on a serious opinion rather than humorous observations, Bearman, whose real name is Bear Man, began taking mood-altering drugs as a result of the influence made upon him by a friend he met online just 3 months prior. The user would often talk to Bearman about general things such as politics or opinions on games and movies, but often these conversations would spiral into dark and deeply disturbing topics. At first, Bearman seemed to be confused and would often ignore questions most would deem taboo, but over time, this user would gain Bearman's trust, convincing him to do damaging things to himself and his online presence. The anonymous user messaging Bearman went by the online handle, The Destroyer, though later in his relationship with Bearman, he would accidentally reveal himself to be a man named John Boron, residing in Jersey City, New Jersey. After many late-night conversations over Discord, one night, John managed to convince Bearman to try penis envy 7 mushrooms, a psychedelic drug known for causing hallucinations and making the user feel a complete disconnect from reality when taken in large quantities. On the night of June 22nd, just a couple hours after uploading a video about the new Super Mario Bros. Series, Bearman drank roughly an eighth of PE7 mushrooms in the form of an herbal tea. It was this night he would begin writing the script for one of the most successful videos of his career.
Can you beat Tomodachi Life in one day?
On July 1st, 2023, Bearman uploaded the video, Can You Beat Tomodachi Life in One Day? The video focused on Bearman and his attempt at beating the game in just one day. Because of the game's design and lack of a linear structure, not only would beating it in one day be an interesting feat to watch, but it would also ensure that Bearman's experience would be unlike anyone else's, making the video more interesting to watch than a typical playthrough of a traditional game. Within its first week, the video garnered a respectable sum of views, but 8 days after its upload, it skyrocketed. It quickly became Bearman's first video to crack 100,000 views, and pushed him over the 1,000 subscriber milestone. The success was overwhelming to Bearman, but this success came with much else that would haunt him for the rest of his time on the platform. Firstly, this was the first video since the Breath of the Wild video to see a noticeable flood of hate. Many complained about the audio, saying the commentary sounded like it was generated by AI. But this was simply the result of audio-enhancing software Bearman used in many of his videos around the time to compensate for his lack of legitimate recording equipment aside from basic gooseneck headsets. Viewers also continued to ridicule him for his sometimes painful overuse of swearing to describe basic or often unimportant things. But for others, this was what made the content good. Up until this point, a trademark of Bearman's videos was his obsession with small details. He would often focus on small imperfections in games most would never even think about, and spend sometimes minutes complaining about everything under a microscope no matter how irrelevant they were. Despite many viewers often commenting on these unfair critiques, Bearman persisted, explaining to his community that this was just simply how he goes through life, picking apart and finding the faults in everything. And although Bearman often expressed a dry and sometimes odd sense of humor, this video did something different. This time around, Bearman seemed to be genuinely disturbed by the events happening in the game, treating the in-game Mii characters as real people who were wronging him, even though all of them were his own creations.
I'm so close to burning my eyes out, I'm actually nauseous.
He was audibly suffering in his own experience with the game despite it all being the events of his own conscious decisions. It was almost as if he was purposely subjecting himself for this just for the sake of creating new content. But this explanation just didn't add up much. Much of the humor expressed was very odd and questionable, and his excessive use of swears limited the video's extended reach on YouTube and any monetization possible via ad revenue. His motives were just confusing and didn't seem to explain any of his bizarre behavior exhibited in this video. But there was actually an explanation for this. While recording the footage for this video, Bearman was experimenting with the PE7 mushrooms he had been swayed into using by John Boron, and under its psychedelic effects, he wrote a script documenting his experience. Although he was under the influence of the contraband, the feedback was exceptional. Viewers praised the extreme language and interactions displayed throughout the video, finding Bearman's obsessive attitude towards the 10-year-old 3DS game to be humorous and unlike anything other content creators with similar content would ever go near. Bearman was just bizarre and angry in a way most people weren't, and it was all authentic, and that's what made it all work. But below that genuine expression was something more concerning than viewers would come to understand. The source of this anger and creativity was the result of a growing dependence on mind-altering narcotics. Riding off the success of his Tomodachi video, Bearman began expanding his presence. He began commissioning art to replace the sprites of his channel mascot, who he would later reveal to be named Gilbert. His videos could now be monetized, his subscriber count was growing, he upgraded his editing software, and he began interacting with the community. Although he was still a small creator, he continued expanding his presence by making appearances on streams with other small-known content creators. He would often play competitive games like Fortnite and Counter-Strike, and could even be found streaming on his own Twitch channel from time to time. Amidst this push and reach, Bearman did something that would eventually come back to haunt him. On September 3rd, 2023, Bearman made a guest appearance playing Call of Duty on stream with well-known member of the Black Ops community, Mr. Vindictive. About 40 minutes into the stream, the topic of conversation evolved into politics, and Bearman said something that left a bad taste in viewers' mouths. Today with everyone.
But like, I don't know how they even let that happen, you know?
Well, like, people from Delaware cause way more crime than, like, any other part of the country, you know?
Oh, dude, what the fuck?
Well, then that's just the truth. That's just it. I'm telling you, that's the truth. People,
Okay.
People in Delaware cause way more crime than anyone else in any other parts of the country. That's just a fact.
Chill.
It's just statistics. It's not
Okay,
me.
dude, chill.
This comment immediately sparked outrage in the live chat, and it's clear that both creators try ignoring them at first, but it soon becomes something impossible to ignore. Instead of apologizing for the comment, Bearman doubled down on his take while Mr. Vindictive can be heard awkwardly trying to change the subject. People should just vote, you know, based on statistics, though, you know what I'm saying?
Bearman, you gotta chill, bro.
It's not that...
Yeah.
I just...
Okay,
it's,
bro.
Dude, people from Delaware cause way more crime...
Okay, man, let's just go for it. Fuck it. Man,
Dude.
This guy's such a sweat, bro. Like, get off my dick. I'm goated with the sauce, bro.
Many expected Bearman to backtrack, but the stream ended abruptly just 20 minutes after the incident, leaving the community to discuss what happened among themselves. Many condemned the comments made by Bearman, but others in his community defended him, calling his actions merely a lapse in judgment, others just flat out agreeing with him. But by the next day, it seemed to have been successfully swept under the rug, but this would be far from the last time Bearman would be at the center of a controversy.
This guy's such a sweat, bro. Like, get off my dick.
While the uploads kept being pumped out, Bearman continued to mold his own identity, often lamenting comparisons made by the community, associating him with other creators. But in the background of all of this was a dark and sad decline in mental health fueled by the actions of his online acquaintance, John Boron. John continued encouraging Bearman to experiment with psychedelics, and over time, managed to convince Bearman to even try meth. It was around this time his output began to slow down, and the frequency of uploads was less consistent, and eventually seemed to just stop. After uploading a 6-minute video on Christmas Day, Bearman went quiet. Viewers didn't know why he seemed to have disappeared, and many began losing interest. His subscriber count growth seemed to have plateaued, but the Tomodachi video continued to experience random bursts of engagement. No one knew what was going on, except one person, and that was John Boron. John and Bearman continued to talk multiple times a day, while Bearman had acquired a fully developed drug addiction. His use of meth kept him from interacting with others, and he began developing early signs of chronic paranoia, and John was the one responsible. After nearly 2 entire months of silence, Bearman uploaded his next hit video, The Worst Ways to Play Minecraft. The video was an instant hit, receiving attention from big names in the community, most notably Jay Schlatt. Bearman claimed that the video had taken so long because of issues with footage collected, but it's widely believed that this was just a lie fed to his community as a cover-up for his meth addiction. Although viewers loved the extreme takes and humor, it was unknown to them the source of it all. Over the next 4 months, Bearman uploaded 3 successful videos returning to subjects he had become known for by that point. He even began developing an appeal to a new community he had yet to pique interest from, and that was the preservation community with the release of his Minecraft Apple TV Edition video, documenting his search for the lost software and his journey completing his collection of Minecraft versions. These were the first videos in which Bearman's secret meth addiction began having somewhat of a negative effect on his writing and humor. These videos featured a few jokes that just made no sense whatsoever. In one, Bearman makes a casual remark insinuating that Microsoft was in some way responsible for the bombing of Hiroshima. The context in which the joke is placed just doesn't complement it whatsoever and adds nothing to it. Some viewers make reference to this in the comments, but most just brushed it off as an absurd remark made in an attempt to shock the audience. After these videos were released, Bearman stuck to his steady schedule of about 1 video per month, but these videos just didn't reach the itch that his viewers had. Some of these videos were unscripted Let's Plays that few were interested in, and another was a crude attempt at a director's commentary, looking back at Bearman's first video, which had recently celebrated its 1-year anniversary. The video was bizarre, and it's very clear that something's just not right. Bearman expresses clear signs of schizophrenia and chronic paranoia. He begins the video by describing an incident in which an animal had broken into his car and impaled him, leading to his own death. Later on in the video, he talks about hate comments left on his videos, expressing his acknowledgement of these comments and making it clear that they frequent his thoughts on a daily basis. Throughout the whole commentary, he jumps from topic to topic. It's easy to see he's in a very disturbed state, but around this time, he still managed to get new videos out, keeping fans engaged. Because of this, many, once again, just brushed it off as an odd attempt at humor. Around this time, Bearman began creating a narrative in the descriptions of his videos, going into detail about chaotic events and even confessing to a homicide. He talks openly about his use of drugs and even began joking with his patrons, suggesting that their money was feeding into his drug addiction. Little did they know, Bearman was telling the truth. Piece by piece, Bearman scattered information about his life outside of YouTube. As time went on, these descriptions became more and more disturbing, detailing the deportation of his drug dealer and the murder of his lawyer. Some fans noticed this, but no public records at the time involved a person named Bearman, redefining the severity of Bearman's drug-induced paranoia. It's unknown to this day if any of the events described in these descriptions were based on any real-life events, or if they were just a product of Bearman's deeply disturbed mind. By the end of 2024, Bearman seemed to be unstoppable. After hitting the 50,000 subscriber mark, he announced that he had begun production on a 50,000 subscriber special. But just a few days after this announcement, Bearman would once again find himself in hot water. While Twitch streamer Derision Maker was live streaming his reaction to the 1965 World Series playoffs, he received a surprise cameo from Bearman in his live chat, who, after a few minutes, began requesting he be added to the stream, on the premise that he had a surprise announcement for Derision Maker's viewers, most of which knew Bearman, as the two often streamed Super Smash Bros. Ultimate together. Derision Maker agreed, but would quickly come to regret his decision. Bearman was audibly drunk and was slurring his words. Almost nothing coming out of his mouth was intelligible. After a few uncomfortable minutes, Derision Maker began making it clear he wanted Bearman to leave the stream, but just before he had the chance to remove him, Bearman made this comment.
Oh, look at that, Bearman's typing. Oh. Oh, he said hi. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna have him join the stream. Yeah. I'm gonna have him join the stream. Hello? What?
Dude.
What?
Why the World Series, dude? Why are you watching this shit?
Are you?
No, dude, listen. Why you're watching?
All right,
What are you
I
watching
think we
this
need to
shit
get
for?
you out of here.
It's fucking stupid.
I think we need to get you out of here.
No. Just chill, dude. Chill. Dude, let me tell you something I was thinking about today.
What?
No, listen.
I think.
Okay.
Mods, we might
I
need
got
to
a
ban this
book
guy.
recently. Dude, they gotta stop. Gay people cannot be let into libraries, dude.
Oh, hey!
Dude, no, listen. It's just like, I'm cool with them getting married, but
No.
Derision Maker, who by then was a well-known member of the LGBT community, began telling Bearman off, then kicked him from the stream. Viewers were in shock, and some even thought it was staged, but were left in dismay when Derision Maker began condemning Bearman and his comments made just a few minutes before. After this incident, Bearman went quiet and went on another hiatus, leaving his community in confusion once again.
What a pagan fascist.
Creators who once associated with Bearman began denouncing his comments, ending their long-running association with him and his content. The channel seemed dead, but on March 13th, 2025, Bearman finally uploaded his long-awaited 50,000 subscribers special. It was an hour-long special documenting Bearman's journey completing the 3DS port of Minecraft and delving into the deep history behind the game. Although the video featured several nonsensical jokes that seemed to have become a normalcy in his content, it was clear that much time and effort was put into the video. Instantly, many who had become skeptical of Bearman's morals turned a blind eye to the homophobic comments he made just 2 months prior. Many of his former collab partners ignored the upload, sticking by their stance in defense of Derision Maker, but the viewers didn't care. Some tried hard to denounce Bearman and his comments, but these pleas were made to no prevail. What Bearman's viewers didn't realize was that, behind the scenes, Bearman's drug addiction had become a crippling dependency. John Boron continued to talk with Bearman and convinced him to try heroin on New Year's Day just 2.5 months prior. This addiction continued to control Bearman's life. John Boron had gained complete influence over Bearman, but his motives were unclear. And Bearman realized this on March 4th, just 2 weeks before the 50,000 subscriber special was uploaded. He had began drinking heavily with a close friend while watching the New Jersey Devils play the Dallas Stars at the American Airlines Center in Texas, a game he had intended on flying to see but had to cancel due to scheduling issues. In the final few minutes of Period 3, New Jersey had somehow managed to come back from Dallas's 3-1 lead and tie the game. Just as overtime seemed to be inevitable, with 3 seconds left, Dallas scored, making New Jersey's comeback meaningless. Bearman quickly slipped into a fit of rage at the realization that neither of his parlays hit and his spread was not covered. During his fit, he began reaching for a beer-covered syringe on the table, but it was just out of reach. While contemplating his situation, his friend began filling a spoon with heroin before taking out a lighter. It was at this moment Bearman realized the influence of John Boron and how it had destroyed his life. The next morning, Bearman blocked all contact with John and checked himself into a rehab facility, and after just 10 days on Subutex, he began seeing results and was able to redirect his attention to his YouTube channel and finally finish his 50,000 subscriber special. Shortly after the release of the hour-long special, Bearman continued focusing on his online presence. In the weeks following its upload, Bearman published 2 new videos continuing to exercise the style he'd become known for. By now, he was nearing the 70,000 subscriber mark. He began locking in, dead set on reaching 100,000 subscribers for the satisfaction of seeing his name on a play button, but he would soon realize that the journey there was too much for him to handle. On April 2nd, 2025, Nintendo streamed a presentation detailing information about their recently announced Nintendo Switch 2. Bearman was very passionate about the topic and began working tirelessly on a script delivering his points and opinions in the clearest way possible. Though he had been a longtime fan of Nintendo and their IPs, owning an extensive collection of their hardware and games, he had become cynical towards the company and their undercredited contribution to the corruption of the industry as a whole. After 17 straight hours writing, recording, and editing, Bearman uploaded a video in response to this reveal titled, "Do Not Buy the Nintendo Switch 2. It instantly took off. Within hours of the video being uploaded, it was already approaching the 100,000 view mark. Bearman was finally realizing a dream he had for years. He finally had a voice loud enough to have an opinion that matters. But of course, with all these views came hate. There was so much hate being directed towards Bearman with the release of this video, and it had started to become overwhelming. With arguments breaking out in his comment sections, Twitter, and other social media platforms, Bearman fell into a deep depression. It seemed that for every commenter agreeing and praising his opinions, there were 100 telling him to kill himself and calling him a fucking idiot. After days of ongoing internet arguments, Bearman decided to stream, something he hadn't done since his drunken appearance on Derision Maker's stream. For a while, it seemed like a nice distraction from the hate, but it didn't take long for the live chat to be flooded with negativity. After 45 minutes of ignoring the chat members, Bearman snapped and began screaming at his audience, criticizing them for their inability to refrain from ignorance. But after several minutes of rambling, this happened. Just fuck off. Like, seriously, you're acting like it's a huge deal, this whole thing. Like Donkey did something over on me. I really could give two shits what he has to say about anything I have, any of my opinions. I really don't fucking care. Like, he really just, wait, shit, 1 second, hold on. Someone organized a swatting against Bearman, and it was all being streamed live to his audience. After several minutes explaining his situation to the police, an officer walked over to the monitor and killed his stream. The community was in shock. Many condemned the act, but some were reminded of Bearman's previous racist and homophobic comments and were deterred from offering sympathy. Because of his sticky past, peers in the community refrained from commenting, staying neutral, rather than coming to the defense of someone they previously denounced. Luckily, no one was hurt, and the person behind the attack was identified as a 16-year-old from Portland, Oregon. He was swiftly taken into custody by authorities. After the incident, Bearman was being talked about everywhere. YouTubers were reporting on the event and giving their opinions on it. Twitch made a statement, reinforcing the importance of safety in the streaming community. All of this publicity should have been good, but it did nothing but add unneeded stress to Bearman and his situation. Just 3 days after the swatting, Bearman relapsed and began using again. All of his issues returned and were back to haunt him, and its effects became visible just a few weeks later when he uploaded the video, The Sad Reality of Mario Kart World. The video instantly became a topic of controversy, being backed by weak opinions, sometimes based on nothing. Most of his fans saw it as an easy way to make a few bucks and pocket off the divided community by rage-baiting Nintendo fans with a clickbait thumbnail. A new flood of hate came in, worsening Bearman's dependence on heroin, and all the negativity doubled when popular gaming YouTuber Video Game Donkey uploaded a 3-minute video using clips from Bearman's Switch 2 video in an attempt to make him look uninformed and immature. The next day, in an attempt at damage control, Bearman had this to say on stream. I want to say, like, so people hear this, Donkey is a big fucking pussy because he's gonna make a 3-minute video using just my content and not even have the balls to credit me anywhere, to tag me in the title, the video, anywhere. And what a surprise that after I write him an email telling him what a piece of shit he is, suddenly my name shows up in the description. Around this time, Bearman became enraged with the community, delving deeper and deeper into his drug addiction, once again exhibiting signs of paranoia. I just can't imagine being the moron who walks into Best Buy right on June 5th, buys a Switch 2, and walks out happy, thinking they've really treated themselves. They're doing the world good. And then Rufus is over here, like, thinking I owe him money for this shit. I'm not giving you money, you fucking asshole. And there's a lot of comments I see, like people who leave hate comments and stuff, and it bothers me sometimes, but in reality, you know, I like seeing what other people have to say about my opinions and my thoughts on things. Nothing anyone has to say is worth my time. It's just not worth my time. I'm telling you what I'm thinking because I am just right. I'm telling you this. And frankly, if you buy Mario Kart World, I'm coming to your house, I'm killing you and your family. I don't care. I'm telling you this. It's good to have that connection with your audience, that you hear them just as much as they hear you. Nelly, I'm gonna tell you right now, I could not possibly give less of a fuck about anything you have to say about the Switch 2. But letting viewers know that you want to hear their input, you know, keeps people engaged. You all need to shut the fuck up. Just fuck off. Because ultimately, it's that connection that will make people, well, care. After a week of silence, Bearman came back with what was the final straw for many of his longtime fans. In his first sponsored video, Bearman endorses an AI company to his viewers, giving examples of its possible use. The video was the 4th episode in a series focused on mocking AI and its potential use cases. It was a complete contradiction of the entire series, and fans saw right through it, calling him a sellout and criticizing him for his abuse of his new subscribers coming from his recent controversy. By this point, Bearman had fully redeveloped his heroin dependency, and it showed in his work. This sponsored video was filled with psychotic ramblings in the form of AI avatar monologues. Several bits in the video seem to ignore any aspect of comedy and delves directly into disturbing and graphic descriptions of homicides and drug abuse. Viewers were disgusted and became concerned for Bearman. People unsubscribed in mass as Bearman's credibility withered to an almost non-existent state. All of this chaos pushed him directly off the edge into a spiraling drug binge that would soon bring his career to its demise. His final upload came May 30th, 2025. It was called The Downfall of Bearman3600. It was a satirical documentary going over the history of his channel and its impending downfall. Though many found the piece to be funny, most were left confused. The video tells the actual story of how his channel began, but would occasionally explain certain events with exaggerated and sometimes completely fabricated incidents to create an absurd narrative, not only making a mockery of his own image, but also creating a paradox of irony and parody that most were too uninformed to understand. Other points in the video seem to be fueled by egotistical self-praising, noting his own achievements and giving insight on the genuine evolution of quality on his channel. The video received mixed reception from longtime viewers, but ultimately was seen as just another one-off video created as a break from the style of his other series-based videos that followed a general structure to one another. It's believed that after this video was uploaded, Bearman continued his drug binge, but no one truly knows what he went on to do, or who he went on to become. And to this day, no one knows the true identity of John Boron or his motives. But the stain he left on Bearman's career and life remained permanent. Wherever John is today, he's seen the results of his influence, and evidently has nothing left to say. And after about 3 days of traffic, the video along with his channel were left lifeless, with Bearman seemingly gone from the face of the earth. May 30th, 2025 would be the last time the internet would ever hear from this once thriving channel. Many looked forward to each new upload regardless of the topic, while others despised him and his actions. But regardless of their opinions on the channel, it's undeniable the wasted potential that was ruined by greed, bigotry, and addiction. Even through the controversies, Bearman continued to upload content with his unique takes on anything he felt like talking about, regardless of his community's feelings on it. No matter what anyone had to say about anything he did, he continued to make videos the way he wanted, talking about whatever topics or games he cared to give his attention. But after it all, Bearman ended up exactly where he started, lost in obscurity.